Hey, this is me building a $2 million a year business in public. Last month I made 170 grand. Next month I'm going to do a little bit more than that. We start every video with some Q&A where I answer your questions. Then we cover some growth stats where I show you my growth over the last 24 hours. And finally I round it out with some live strategy. This is my main channel right over here, which just hit 82,718 subs. And this is my daily updates channel where the whole gambit is I just answer your questions to improve my engagement and then also get a bunch of people into the bottom of the funnel and then converting into Maker School, Make Money with Make and stuff. Also, I just really like doing this. Just off the top of my head, it's very enjoyable. So first question, Low Key Productions 803840 says, do you need to start out on Upwork? The answer to that is no. You don't need to start out anywhere. And it looks like Leon actually took those words out of my mouth. Upwork is just by far the easiest place to start for a number of reasons. The first, I would say, just off the top of my head, like if we'd go, why Upwork? Is because as a beginner, okay, sales is hard. And sales is composed of three parts. There is understanding the problem of the client. There's understanding the way to pitch a solution. There's also understanding how to stand out and be basically like their the pick relative to all of the other solutions that they could pick, okay? So like think about it. Customer has to understand the problem. You have to explain it to them. Customer also has to understand the solution. You have to pitch yours. And then finally, they have to pick you as the best service provider capable of fulfilling that solution. So the way that Upwork works is it basically just like covers the first and the second for you. And then you just pay a little bit of money for connects and then fulfillment when you deliver the project, a percentage in fees, which is now up to I think 15% or so. Used to be 20, they dropped it down to 10. Now I think it's like between 10 and 15. And then that leaves only this for you to actually like, have to do. So all you really have to do is you have to make yourself the best pick relative to a bunch of other freelancers. And this is, 1/3 of the work on the sales side of things, which as a beginner, if you can get the hardest part of the thing, which is sales, and you can cut down 2/3 of that work for you right off the bat, then obviously things are a lot easier. The second is it minimizes what's called capital outlay. Okay. This is a more nuanced point that I don't think a lot of people understand, but basically, if this is a graph of, let's say, money spent over time. Sorry about that. Money spent over time. And I don't know, we're just trying to track like the amount of money that you're going to need to spend in this business model or something like that in order to receive some sort of result. The way that most lead generation works is, you kind of nothing here. And then all of a sudden you spend a bunch of money on a bunch of platforms. Okay. And then you don't spend any money until the next month. And you spend a bunch more money on platforms the next month. Okay. So what this is this is a huge capital outlay. What I mean by this is you have to spend money on things like, cold email, which is like, maybe $100 immediately. Then you got to spend money. I mean, if you're doing like ads or something, that's way more money. If you're doing any sort of other like lead generation thing, I don't know, you get like Expandy for LinkedIn or some sort of like Drippy or something like that for X or Auto AGDM for Instagram or some sort of outbound infrastructure. Think about it. Like as a beginner, you might have to spend like $200. And the thing is, you're not going to see any sort of result on that $200 in a while. If we make green here, money gained, you might spend all this money, then you'll get like nothing basically until this, right? And so what is this period? Okay. Basically, to make a long story short, the period between where you spend all the money and then when you finally like reach parity here, this is your outlay. Sorry, this is the outlay, I would say. Well, I guess it depends on like, this is like sunk money with no sunk time with no feedback. You haven't received any positive feedback from the market. You haven't gotten any money. And so as a beginner, like this is the danger of that sunk money where you've put a bunch of money into something you haven't seen a result yet, okay? So the longer that goes on, the less likely you are to stick with the business model. And if you think about it from my perspective, my whole goal is to just make you succeed with the business model, because if you succeed with the business model, then I make way more money too, right? So we're all incentivized here. So that's how most marketing platforms work. Upwork is a lot easier, okay? So if this is like money, spent or whatever over time, the way that Upwork works is you just do some connects every day. So, first day, let's say day one, you might spend, I don't know, $15 or something. Then day two, okay, you spend another $15. Day three, you spend another $15. Day four, you spend another $15, and so on and so on and so on and so forth. It's pretty linear. And then because it's so easy to get that sale, if you think about it like as in, when you get a ROI from Upwork, like how long does it actually take? You can actually start to see the results like very, very, very quickly, and the ROI tends to grow. And then, obviously it eventually outpaces the money that you spend. But the point I'm making is like the gap between when you spend money and then when you start making money might be as short as like a couple of days realistically. Whereas this might be like a few weeks. I understand that. I could probably do a better job drawing this stuff, but what are you going to do? Hopefully you guys understand the point that I'm making here. So you don't need to start out. It's just a really good place to start, if I'm being honest. And these headphones are kind of screwing with me a little bit because they keep on coming in and out of noise canceling. So let me just take those off. Deacon Nick number 2, says, hey man, just stumbled on your programs or videos. I was more or less retired, 64 after doing SEO and SMM for people for 10 years, but I was bitten by the AI bug and I was literally starting over. That's really funny. I've done okay, but never broke 50K in a month. My question is, if I want to catch from what you're doing, where should I start? It's not feasible to watch every video, so is there a good one with a solid foundation? Yeah, probably 80% of automation basics. This one right over here. Let me just shut myself up. This one right over here is pretty solid. Yeah, this, sorry, wrong one. 80% of automation basics, Nick. There you go, this one here. So 80% of AI automation basics in just 29 minutes. This just walks you through, I want to say like the high level, and then there's how I made $100,000. This one here, how I made $100,000 a month as an AI solopreneur. I think that's pretty cool. And then there's another one over here. I had to go to home. Called, no, sorry, bro, wrong video. I have since actually just swapped this. Let me see if I could find it. This other one here, how to build a profitable AI business in 2025 for beginners. I'd say those are 3 good first steps. After that, if you want to learn how to actually build the software and the solutions, then check out N8N for everyone. This is my N8N course, or make.com for people who want to make their own money. Then the how to build and scale an automation agency video, sort of looks like a supplement. Yeah, there's a lot of content out there. Dead Thunder says, thanks a lot for the info. What laptop model do you have? I'm looking to buy one. Can I do about this Mac? Let me see. It's a MacBook Pro, Apple M2 Max, 32 gigs. This is the one right here. It's not like the best or not the worst. I got this a couple years ago and it was like, I don't know, probably like 90%, I would say. If 100% is like the top tier Mac, I was at like 90%. I think there was one more that I could have got with 64 gigs, but I got the 32 gig one. Hey, Nick, I specialize in appointment setting for service-based businesses. I'm having the same issue with a lot of my clients. They all have their own niche software that has no API. Do you know of any workarounds? Yeah, what you're looking for is something called a hidden API, which is basically where you kind of like hack the platform, if I'm honest. You do API calls to endpoints that they only expose within their software. And in doing this, if you're smart about it, you can recreate the same API functionality that you're looking for. I want to say in most cases, not in all cases. If you're curious about how to do that, I have a video called another hidden API one right over here. A completely new way to build make.com scripters hidden APIs. This isn't just about make.com, by the way. Feel free to jump in and then like double check. Use the same concepts I talk about here on like N8N or whatever. But yeah, I feel you, man. I've been there. Quick question about Make specifically from Precision 25. When speaking to a prospective client on a call, how do you gauge which size account core pro team set up for them? Assuming they accept and you actually start the process. I know automation is different. Thanks, man. Been watching a long time during the community recently. Hell yeah. Good having you, my bro. I do pro for basically everything nowadays. I did Teams a couple times. I don't really use Teams anymore. I just do pro for everything. And then it's just like the number of ops. So 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 80,000, so on and so forth. Haley Newen says, I'm terrified of calling potential customers, having conversations, or asking questions. It would be better to create an automated product and sell it using ads and content. Well, there's almost a philosophical thing. You're terrified of something, and so you're running away from it. Does that really seem like a sustainable way to live your life? You're probably going to run into issues and things that you are terrified of in the future. And if you make a decision now to set the precedent of running away from them, how is that going to benefit you moving forward? If you are terrified of doing something, almost by definition, you should try doing it. Is this the straightest line path to making money? No. I don't do the cold calls these days, as I've mentioned a number of times. But the obstacle is the way. If you have an issue, you should tackle that issue head on. You should at least try to do that at least once, maybe at least 10 times. That's my recommendation. So it is not better to create an automated product and sell it using ads and content. I would make sure you know how to do this first before you try doing anything else. Gandalf1 says, I'm struggling to understand how to host and use servers to deploy the products. Well, you don't really need to, if I'm honest. I imagine you're probably using N8N. So I actually don't recommend that you use N8N for, I don't recommend that you use self-hosting if you're like a noob to N8N. And if you want to work with clients, I just recommend you get the client cloud hosted offer. Sorry, a little bit late today. I'm a little bit tired. So like if you think about it, as an automation engineer, you have so many different things you got to think about, right? You got to think about like, I don't know, you got to You think about the actual automation itself. You got to think about ROI. You got to think about ops. You got to think about like tokens. You got to think about like AI prompts, Why would you add on, okay, an additional thing here called like DevOps? Why worry about all that? That's just even more work, okay? So just get rid of those. Spend, like $50 or whatever it is now. Sorry, I forget the end-to-end pricing. It's been a while since I've had to look at it because it's auto buy for me. 60 euro or 24 euro a month. There you go. If you could solve this for 24, how do I do the euro sign? I don't even know how to do the euro sign. Sorry, guys. If you could solve this for 24 a month, you should. And you're not even paying for this most of the time. The client's paying for this, right? So don't do the self-hosting. Don't worry about that. And then if you're using Make, like you don't have to worry about any sort of like on-prem or server deployment or whatnot. Okay, Gandalf? You don't look like Gandalf. And Things IRL says, hey, Nick, I'm 19, bootstrap my AI automation freelancing journey. No capital, no tools, just grit. Hell yeah, brother. I'm using Perplexity to research real estate businesses and then crafting ultra-personalized cold emails with Claude to offer follow-up and booking automations. Love your guidance on scaling this and landing my first 2 clients. Why 2? Okay, cool. No capital? No capital. That's going to make it pretty tough. Come on, man. Don't you have at least like $50 lunch money or something like that you can put towards this? Like, that'll make your life a lot easier. Where are you sending the cold emails from? Well, listen, I do appreciate the grit and the gumption. I think gumption is probably the term we're looking for. You remind me of this guy in a book that I read when I was younger called Go Getter. You got a bunch of grit, you don't have much else. But yeah, I think actually what you're doing is fine. Ultra personalizing emails. If you throw enough of those at the wall, they'll definitely stick. And this is the straightest line path to like, making it if you have nothing. I might also combine that with some sort of Loom video or some sort of custom asset. Like it's one thing to research real estate businesses and then craft an ultra personalized cold email. It's another thing to do that. And then while you're crafting the ultra personalized cold email, you could also like create an asset to give to them. That's probably what I would do. I would also experiment with like DMs. So like if you're researching a real estate business, odds are you're also going to get like 3 or 4 of their other social media profiles. You'll get like their Instagram page or Twitter page or LinkedIn page. Just like while you're sending the email, you just created an asset. You just customized all this stuff. Just have Claude also create like a customized 1-line Twitter DM. Customized 1-line LinkedIn connection request. Just send those all out simultaneously. If the probability of somebody seeing one of these, let's say your email, is like 20%, okay, you can do this as mathematically it's 0.8. And let's say the probability of the rest of these platforms being found are also 20%. So this is email. This is X. This is LinkedIn. Assuming they're independent and identically distributed or whatever the hell it's called. This just ends up being... let's do one more. You actually substantially improve your probability here. Like you actually take a 20% chance of somebody seeing your stuff to like a 59% chance somebody seeing your stuff. And if your stuff is good, if a third of the people actually end up getting back to you, you'll have like a 20% reply rate, assuming that it's like hyper customized and you are really spending a lot of time doing this, not just like whipping up some cookie cutter garbage. Also, I'm making a bunch of other assumptions here, like your deliverability is good and whatnot. Sahil says the Typeform accountability tracker is awesome. Thank you, my man. You can copy this copy if you want, but it'll probably outscale you to look like a derivative. That's pretty funny, huh? Thank you, Leon. What app are you using for drawing on the screen? This is called Excaladraw, which everybody is now using because I popularized it. And then you could also do Presentify on Mac, where I can just like draw anywhere I want. Yeah, I hope that helps, Vlastislav. How do you add a Typeform webhook in Make? Dmunix says Typeform remove their option in webhooks from the developers page. Well, you should still be able to add one. Almost certainly. This is pretty foundational stuff. So it's just the watch responses here. Add. I don't know. Let's just pick a form. My new form. I'm going to regret that. Yeah, that's it. Boom. We're done. So you don't actually have to use like a webhook. You just use a Typeform watch responses module that has the webhook functionality built in. Boomerang Me Card says, great video. We've covered building a personal brand for digital agency owners on our channel as well. It's interesting to see how this approach works in the AI space. Hell yeah, man. It's interesting seeing how this approach works for getting a bunch of traffic. Crossing my fingers for you. But yeah, it's funny you're doing this because I was thinking about, well, actually, this is something I did for a little bit. I just left some comments on like other AI automation people's YouTube videos. Like some dude, one of my competitors would drop a video and I'd be like, oh, how to do X, Y, and Z. And then I'd be like, sick automation, bro, or something. Then a bunch of people would like upvote me to the top of the thing. Piss them off like crazy. Anyway, maybe your stuff's good. Who knows? When I succeed, I'll most definitely attribute my success to the value you provide, Nick. Thank you. Thank you, Aiden. I appreciate it. Russ says, random answer question with an easy answer this time. What bitrate do you put your OBS settings at? I'm trying to avoid the choppy blur that happens both on my face camera and screen recording when I scroll quickly in a video. Thanks to nonstop value. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Mine is pretty poor. I think it's like 5,000 or something. I should be doing like 8,000, 10,000, but yeah, I don't. Harry says, great job, Nick. One question. How do you find the footage of tools demo video on your IG? Oh, actually, I have an editor that goes through the tools and like legitimately whips this up. So we actually screen record. We don't, just copy them. What's interesting is a lot of people are now copying ours. There's this one really big channel out there that actually legitimately copies our videos from end to end and then like removes my face from it and then they insert their faces on it. So I don't know. You could do that too if you want. No, I don't recommend it. I recommend getting like OG footage. Sarcasm says, hey Nick, where do you see the online agency space in 10 to 15 years? Do you think traditional Facebook ads model and the new AI automation agency model will last? Most ad agencies I see hardly last a few years. The market's evolving fast. Pricing is already based on performance in many niches. And I think that's why a lot of people are quick to sell shovels and mentorship and coaching. They sell dreams to mentees rather than just running agencies themselves. What's your take on the future of the space and how do you suggest future-proofing ourselves? Personally, I feel like with each new automation and ad model, it's well becoming commodity and it's becoming harder and harder to create a stable agency as performance-based models are key. So I got two answers for you. The first is like an inspirational, like the ingenuity of man will prevail explanation, where, when the Industrial Revolution happened, you stopped being a seamstress or something because there was a machine that could run a loom 5,000 times as quickly as you. And so you went one level up and you became a loom machine operator. And so where a previous demand for the market was filled by machines, new opportunities in the market were opened by said machines. And ultimately, the economic productivity of the world just skyrocketed as a result. So you saying that, do you think this model will last and so on and so forth? It's like, well, no model will last, really, if we're honest with ourselves. But likely, new technologies will arrive or new technologies or new sorts of models will arrive that people that currently operate successful agencies can shift to in order to do the future proofing. That's one explanation. The other is that AI will just eventually swallow up everything. I mean, AI is better than we are at a lot of things already. If it's making massive strides in like its ability to do simple logic problems and questions, and we're now chaining together a bunch of tools, is 10 to 15 years time span. In that time span, I should say, are we even going to have an economy that's run by humans or managed by humans? Well, probably mediated by humans. But like where's the value of the average human going to be, right? So am I looking 10 to 15 years with this business model? No, not at all. I think there's like a few years left of the business model like this, which is agencies in general. But AI is already proving at par or better than most human beings at producing deliverables. Like if I was a designer right now, or if I was an artist or commission artist or something, like you bet your ass I'd be finding myself a much more stable and future-proof position. But I'll tell you what I wouldn't do. Like I wouldn't just try doing the same thing a little bit different. I'd probably have to find something fundamentally different, because if AI just went for designs and art with like ChatGPT's or GPT-4o's new image generation side, you bet your ass it's going to solve that problem too, probably faster than I could learn the skills necessary to future-proof myself. Okay? So hopefully that's two solutions for you. Like obviously the first one sounds really nice. It's like the Industrial Revolution idea. And then the second one is kind of like, it's almost like an AI renaissance where, maybe human beings will have to reevaluate our place in the universe as like currently producers of economic value and knowledge, but in the future, is that really going to be the main thing that we do? Omar says, bros called PUBG a zombie video game. You're not that much into gaming. Did I call PUBG a zombie video game? I don't think I did. I'm checking this out right now. We're fact checking this. 1635? Sorry, my brother. Let me check this out again. You're getting fact checked hard. I think it was 1635. Let's check this out. Okay, yeah, no, he's right. Just fact check myself. I did call PUBG a video game, zombie video game. Shark Swayze says, how do you handle burnout? Like, we're so rich. When do we sleep? Well, I was feeling really tired today, being honest. Didn't really want to do this or record another daily update. Really didn't sleep that well the last couple of days, and tomorrow I have to wake up at 4 in the morning. So probably getting like 5 hours sleep. So I think if like there is a time that I'll burn out, it's probably going to be this week. But I think that the whole idea of burnout is really just a story that you tell yourself. And human beings are very good storytellers. I'd say it's pretty foundational to our being. So be very careful of the stories that you listen to and internalize. The whole idea that burnout is a thing is a story that I don't really agree with. I mean, I don't think people burned out a few hundred years ago when men were wandering into coal mines with canaries ahead of them, you know? I think they just had to do what they had to do, and they wanted to freaking kill themselves a lot of the time, but they ended up continuing doing what they were doing. They got through it, and then eventually, maybe not all of them got through. That's probably a pretty piss poor example. But I guess the point I'm making is like, this work that we're really doing that difficult? You probably consider Donald Trump a really controversial figure, and I do as well. But he said one thing here which I found brilliant, which was that, oh boy, a reporter or something asked him, "How do you keep going?" or something. Obviously, he like handpicked the reporter, as I imagine, to like make his own story seem better. But he actually had a really good response to this question, and it was something along the lines of like, I try and remind myself that like nothing I do really matters, or something along those lines. And it was like a rare moment of serendipity with this man, where he's like, I try and remind myself that nothing that I do really matters. He's like, I could spend 16 hours a day working my ass off for whatever period of time, and then one morning I'll wake up and then there'll be like a massive train crash in India that will blow up a factory that will kill 500 million people. It's like, nothing that we really do matters at that scale. It was something along those lines, and I'm probably butchering the quote. But I think about that a lot too. Like, if you tell yourself this story repeatedly that like, this is the most crazy important thing in the whole wide world, and I need to do this, and right, like you stress yourself the hell out, then honestly, and if you're like, I got to avoid burnout, I need to avoid burnout. And if you just play that cycle back over in your mind over and over and over again, like, man, burnout is the elephant in the room that you're always going to be trying not to think about, right? So I guess if you retain somewhat of like a nihilistic worldview, I would say, like that, the stuff that we, ultimately we determine the stories that dictate our lives, and it's not like stories that are handed to us, but it's like we can actually craft those stories ourselves. If I just don't believe burnout is a thing, burnout never happens to me. Anyway, that's my little take on it. So talks about avoiding shorts is the real hack. Requires patience, which can only be built through training and practice. Short form content actively trains you the opposite way. So you'll indirectly be more successful by avoiding that content, because by doing the same repetitive tasks day to day for weeks and months, that'll lead to the real growth compounded. But you'll only be able to beat that speed if your brain is only used to short-term enjoyment. I would agree, 100%. All right, ladies, gentlemen, everybody else, we are now done with the Q&A. So let's cover some brand stats, okay? What brand stats are I basically go through all of my social media platforms and then my paid tools or paid products. Then I just see how much I've grown. Okay. So my main channel is at 82,728. We gained 10 since I started recording this video. That's pretty sick. That is a 1.13% growth over the previous 24-hour period from that to that. My Instagram is at 114,857. Actually, it's probably a little bit more than that now. Okay, maybe I'll just put this in for now. So that grew 1,692, okay, which is cool. And then my daily updates channel, which is this one here, I think, was 4,323. Right, so 100, which is 2.4% growth. So I mean, guys, let's be real here. I've hit about. Okay, it's kind of unfair. Let's grab this one too. Last 6 days was 7% growth, right? 7 divided by 6 is 1.16. So if I just grow by 1.16%, here's how you do the math. I want to figure out, if I just grow by 1.16% for the next like 30 days, how much am I going to grow? Well, the math is 1.01667 raised to the 30. If I grow by 1.67% every day for the next 30 days, by the end of this 30-day period, I will have grown my entire follower count by 1.64 times the current, which is 82,000. So if I continue this clip of growth, then in exactly 30 days, so June the 27th, I will be at 135,000 followers. That is the nature of exponential growth. Now, if I were magically to be able to keep this up for 90 days, then by the end of that 90-day period, I would be at almost 400,000 subscribers. This is the magic of compounding and exponential growth, and we're seeing it here. We're seeing it. I mean, look at the absolute magnitude of these figures. 966 over a 4-day period. Look at the absolute magnitude of these figures. 3,888 over a 4-day period. Okay. So if you could, if I could zoom out of this a little more, which I can't really because I'm silly and I don't want to spend all the time doing this. But if you could zoom out, okay, do you kind of see how this graph looks? It's kind of like flatter here, I would say. But now, oh, no. Now it's kind of coming up. Do you guys see this? That's exponential growth right there. Okay. My Instagram is obviously sort of 50-50. It's, there's some ups and downs and stuff. I guess it's actually probably like pretty linear, honestly. But this YouTube channel is definitely exponential. So as long as I can continue posting, I think I can basically guarantee myself future is like the biggest and probably most successful influencer in this space. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Just so I got a minute or so left, why don't I just go through what I've done over the course of the last 24 hours. You know what I'm doing here? For the real ones, I thought it'd be really cool if I started a big work log on Twitter. So I, instead of me doing my daily work forms, I just thought I'd start posting to Twitter. I thought, how cool would it be if in like a year from now, I have a whole public record of basically every major deliverable I have ever provided. So what I'm doing is I'm just posting these to Twitter instead of me doing my daily work form on Typeform where nobody sees it. What I'm doing is I'm posting it here. And now, I have 0 followers now. I've been doing this for a few days. But I think I've been doing this for 4 days and look at all the tasks that I've done. Pretty crazy, huh? I kind of did this because I want there to be something cool, like a cool record of all the work that I've done. Over the course of the next few years, I think as like the proportion of real creators to like artificial creators changes, I want there to be like a real record of my work. Because I think it'd be really inspiring to people. And also I think it'd be cool as a reference for like what actually working looks like. Because a lot of people talk about how difficult it is to like sit down and do the work, and it's true, it is. But I guess I just want to like reframe people's stories about what that difficulty is. Like I was referring to in the first part of this video where I was talking, or an earlier part where I was talking about stories. Like for me, I don't know, I responded to like 92 DM threads on school. I didn't take 5.5 hours to do it, mind you. Maybe I could log the amount of time it takes to, I don't know. But like that's just one of my tasks, right? But when I was talking to one of my friends about this, he's like, dude, you have 92 DM threads open? Like I don't know what the hell I do. I'd like, bury my head in the sand and I'd probably want to die. But honestly, if you just like do a little by little, one at a time, put some good music in there or something, I don't know, like you can get through 92 DM threads on school. That's a lot of people that I talk to one-on-one, right? 5 roasts, those are videos. Maker School Management, outlined a video, outlined a referral strategy for my agency, recorded some roasts, completed some more management, created some new event, right? Like these are all cool work tasks that I'm doing. So yeah, I'm just going to enter in, recorded daily update as a task here too. And then voila. What I really like about this is I'm using some plugin that just hides the Twitter trending bar. And then this is the link that I go to. x.com/compose/post. This is literally just a form where you put in whatever you want and then it tweets it. So, I don't really know what it'd look like if you guys went and followed me, to be honest. I don't know if like I'd just be spamming the hell out of you with my work. I don't know if you guys would mute me or whatever. Feel free to do whatever you want with this. I just wanted to put this out on a public place as opposed to a private place. And I think Twitter's just like a good place for me to do it. So yeah, that was one big thing that I did strategically, which I thought would be interesting. Aside from that, I'm really excited for my first agency hot seat event where I'm going to coach the lovely Bruce Martin, who's a longtime member of Make Money with Make and extraordinary contributor to the group. Publicly live tomorrow at 9 a.m. in Make Money with Make. That's going to be awesome. So stoked on it. I have no idea how it's going to go. I imagine I'm probably going to trip up a bunch. It's going to look kind of stupid and silly, but fuck it, whatever. We're just going to run it live. We do it live. So that's going to be fun. And then, yeah, we'll see how the rest of the week goes. But tomorrow's going to be tough. I'm going to load up on that coffee for sure. Looking forward to that. Okay, I'm signing off for the day. Thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, everybody else. And yeah, just don't tell yourself stories about burnout and then it won't happen. All right, see you all tomorrow.